Rainer Day Ritter is one of my favorite fighters in the very short time that he has been in the UFC, but the very impactful time that he has been in the UFC. He has rose to almost getting possibly a title shot in his next fight, and I'm just going to sit here and glaze him because I can, and you can't do anything about it. So, first off, his fighting style. It's the goofiness, you know. It's what made Drekus popular. We all loved Drekus because he was goofy. Then that inbred fuck Hamzat just had to just lay on him for 25 minutes. We all know as MMA fans, we fell asleep watching that fight. But Reina de Ritter is not a fighter that you fall asleep watching his grappling. Yes, maybe he he does use a lot of clinch control up against the cage, but when he is doing that clinch control, he is pressuring non-stop. And when he's on you against the cage, he's trying to break you. For example, a couple fights ago, Bo Nickel, he just was on him up against the cage and just broke him. In his last outing against Robert Whitaker, he used his oh my god. In his last outing against Robert Whitaker, he used his cage control and grappling to secure half of the fight was clinch, but it was very active grappling. It wasn't half the fight, I'm exaggerating. But a lot of what he used to win was pressuring Robert Whitaker against the cage. And one of the things that makes his pressure so good is his striking, but not his punches, not the traditional thing that you would normally would you say you think good striking in a fighter that they would have. No, 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 no. This is Rainer de Ritter we're talking about. This guy has probably the nastiest just standing knees, just free-flowing combinations that you've ever seen. It's so weird, but it just works because it breaks you, and it's just like, when you're not expecting it, he'll throw a couple punches and it'll just, boom, shoot, knee to the body. And you know that, personally, I'm good. I'm good on that one. I don't even want to know what that feels like. I don't even want to dream to think, to want to know what it feels like to get kneed in the body by them pointy-ass knees. And RDR has a very good personality too, and that drives fighters to be my personal favorite. And he's just an all around good guy, bro. And the thing that like really cements him as a fighter that most people would say is his activity. I mean, look at this shit. It's actually ridiculous. He made his UFC debut last November against Gerald Mearshire. Now, that fight, I'm not even gonna lie, that fight was pretty sloppy. The first 2 rounds were a war against Gerald Mearshire, and that's kind of crazy. And you know, if you're into the UFC memes, you know GM3 comes back in the 3rd round and flukes a finish, but no, RDR does it, and he flukes a finish in the. I wouldn't say flukes. He gets a finish in the 3rd. It was a very competitive fight in the first 2 rounds, though. But he comes back and redeems himself against Kevin Holland, which you can say what you want about Kevin Holland. He's a mid-tier fighter. He's a solid fighter to get a win against, and especially as impressive as it was. It was first round submission. You can't get much better than that. And the next fight is my favorite performance is him breaking Bo Nickel up against the cage. I already talked about it, but and just the nasty knee he hit him with was just absolutely diabolical. It just sent him down. It was good. Then Then he went to war with Robert Whitaker for 5 rounds, in which it was a split decision, but in my opinion, I am biased. But as overlooking, I've watched the fight with an open mind and a clear mind. I do think RDR clearly won that fight 3-2. Them judges are tweaking in Abu Dhabi. They need to be investigated for insider betting and shit. Like, that shit is not okay. But unfortunately, we were robbed of the Anthony Hernandez fight. And I honestly think that fight would be competitive, and it would be a very fun fight to watch in terms of the wrestling scrambles and just the goofy factor. But we have an even more goofy factor in a fight against Brendan Allen that I think RDR is going to absolutely slam him, probably sub him in the second round, because this is Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby. I mean, RDR has claimed a record of 21-2 in his whole MMA career. He is a BJJ black belt, a judo black belt. He is just an He's just an all-American. He is just an amazing fighter, all around amazing fighter is what I meant to say. He's Dutch, not American, but he's Dutch, so he's based. You know how it is. And his only 2 losses are to the most sauced up heavyweight I've ever seen in my life. This guy is actually red. He looks like a hot tamale, bro. By just This guy it's actually insane how roided up this guy looks. He's got back knee like a motherfucker, and his chest is just red. And that's not natural. His blood has nowhere else to go. And I don't know. That's just that says a lot about him. Sure, his first bit of his career was in one, and back in UAE, I do believe. He might in one. It's decent competition. I'm not gonna sit here and say he was fighting the best comp ever, but in one they do have a decent roster. You know they don't have like set up like UFC rankings and stuff, but they do have a pretty good roster, and I do kind of rate one. As weird as to say, I do kind of rate one, but and he's come in and proved himself against not the best of the best, but he's slowly just climbing up the tier of fighters and been able to get past those tests. He's been able to pass those tests with flying colors, except for Robert Whitaker, which, in my opinion, I think Robert Whitaker would beat the absolute shit out of Brendan Allen. And, you know, the only reason that he had such a hard time with Robert Whitaker is because he just absolutely nuked him on the jaw. And I'm not going to lie, I thought it was all over, and I thought my dreams were just crashing down, and I thought, oh my god, this is actually fucking tragic. But he did pull through. He may have grabbed a glove, but hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Can't really. But hey, the Dagestanis cheat on us. Cheat on us? No. No, 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 John Jones. The Dagestanis cheat to beat the fighters we like. So when the fighters that we like cheat, we have to take it. We can take it, you know. We can take. Damn, fuck. I'm not gay, bro. We can accept it. We can accept it when it's our fighters that benefit from the cheating. And I mean, I really don't have a whole lot more to say, but RDR is one of my favorite fighters. I am extremely biased, and if he wins this Saturday, I probably will buy a Dutch flag and I don't know, like run around the street or something with it. I'm kidding, not really. I don't feel like running, but I'm probably gonna buy a Dutch flag if RDR wins this weekend for real. But you know, if you enjoy the video, like, subscribe, do all that shit. Have a good one.